There is a city in Southeast Asia where the streets overflow with plastic, where black canals cut through neighborhoods like open scars, and where the humid air mixes the smell of gasoline, sewage, and sizzling street food into one unforgettable breath. And yet, this very same city holds some of the most refined culture, graceful traditions, and delicate artistry on the entire continent. This is Jakarta, Indonesia's chaotic megacity of contradictions, a place where trash floats beneath colonial Dutch bridges, where elegant mosques rise above traffic jams that last for hours, and where ancient rituals survive in the shadow of skyscrapers. Today, we step into a world that seems impossible, a dirty, crowded, overwhelming metropolis that somehow produces beauty so pure it defies logic. This journey will shock you, inspire you, and challenge everything you think you know about urban life. Jakarta's overloaded urban chaos. The first thing that greets you in Jakarta is not a landmark or a skyline. It is the overwhelming density that surrounds you from every direction. Jakarta feels like a city that has expanded far beyond its physical limits, a sprawling megapolis where concrete, metal, and humanity stack together without pause. In the old kampung districts, houses press tightly against one another, sharing walls, roofs, and even the air that moves through the narrow passageways. The canals that weave through the city, especially the Ciliwung, are dark and heavy, carrying layers of floating plastic, organic waste, and debris collected from miles upstream. On their banks, wooden homes and improvised shacks lean over the water as if clinging to survival itself. During the rainy season, this landscape transforms into a massive labyrinth of flooding. Streets disappear under brown water, motorcycles sputter and stall, and pedestrians wade through murky streams that blend rainwater with sewage. Yet the city continues its restless motion. Traffic locks into place for hours, creating endless lines of honking cars and motorbikes. Sidewalks fill with vendors, food carts, and crowds that move like slow tides. Overhead, palm trees and patches of green stubbornly push through cracks in old walls, reminding you that tropical nature never fully steps aside. Even in a city drowning in chaos, Jakarta's landscape is messy, crowded, and chaotic, yet it pulses with a raw energy that makes it impossible to forget. Dutch elegance. Between dust and congestion. Jakarta's architecture is a collision of worlds, centuries of history layered on top of each other, all trying to survive the city's relentless pace. Step into Kota Tua, the old Batavia district, and you suddenly find yourself standing in the remnants of a European city transported into tropical heat. The whitewashed facades of Dutch colonial buildings line the square. The Grand Fatahillah Museum, the old post office with its sweeping arches and rows of shuttered windows that once housed merchants of the East Indies Company. Their elegance is undeniable, yet time and pollution have stained their walls, giving them a weathered charm that feels as fragile as it is beautiful. Move a few streets away and the scene shifts dramatically. Sidewalks crumble, power lines twist together above you like tangled vines, and low-rise concrete houses stand shoulder to shoulder, coated in layers of dust. The contrasts are striking. Modern skyscrapers tower in the distance, shiny, reflective symbols of Indonesia's booming economy, while at their base are food stalls, aging bus stops, and chaotic intersections teeming with life. The Istiqlal Mosque rises with serene majesty, its vast dome glimmering under the sun, offering spiritual calm amid the noise. Just across from it, the neo-Gothic Jakarta Cathedral adds yet another layer of architectural identity, standing proudly opposite a mosque in a rare harmony seen only here. Jakarta's architecture does not follow a single story. It tells many. It is the story of empires, migrations, religions, and modern ambition, all battling for space in a city that never stops expanding. And within this visual chaos, there is a subtle beauty waiting for those who take the time to look. Jakarta's rich, deep, unexpectedly elegant flavors. Jakarta's cuisine is a living reflection of its tangled history, messy on the outside, astonishingly refined on the inside. The city's food culture blends influences from Betawi natives, Chinese migrants, Arab traders, Dutch colonists, and Javanese families who moved here during the waves of urban migration. It is chaotic harmony, served on a plate. Walk into a humble warung, a small street-side stall, and you might discover soto Betawi, a creamy beef soup infused with coconut milk and spices that blooms slowly with each sip. At the same stall, you may find nasi uduk, Fragrant rice steamed in coconut milk topped with fried shallots and eaten with sambal that hits with fire and sweetness at the same time. Then there is the street food, loud, smoky, and irresistibly alive. In Glodok, Jakarta's vibrant Chinatown, vendors grill satay skewers over open flames, the air thick with the scent of charcoal and peanut sauce. Around Pasar Baru, carts of bakso meatball soup rattle across uneven sidewalks, while vendors in Tanah Abang sell sweet martabak dripping with chocolate and condensed milk. It is not polished, not orderly, and certainly not clean by Western standards, yet the flavors are crafted with an almost artistic precision passed down through generations. In upscale neighborhoods like Menteng or Kemang, Jakarta's culinary sophistication takes another form. Modern Indonesian restaurants reinterpret traditional dishes with elegance, proving that even in a city overwhelmed by chaos, there is room for creativity and refinement. Jakarta's cuisine is the perfect expression of its paradox. From clutter and noise emerges something unexpectedly beautiful. Walking through Jakarta's reality. To understand Jakarta, you must feel it with your own body. The moment you step outside, the heat presses against your skin, carrying a blend of exhaust fumes, humid air, frying oil, and the sharp scent of sambal drifting from a nearby cart. In places like Tanah Abang or Manggudua, the crowd moves in slow, dense waves. You squeeze between clothing stalls, motorbikes parked on sidewalks, and vendors balancing trays of snacks on their shoulders. Everything is close, too close, yet the flow somehow continues without stopping. Crossing the street becomes its own adventure. Motorcycles slide around you from both sides, cars inch forward without fully stopping, and pedestrians step confidently into gaps that seem far too small. Locals understand this rhythm instinctively. Visitors simply learn to trust it. Walk deeper into a kampong and the city reveals a different face. Children run through narrow alleys, women wash laundry in plastic tubs, and men repair motorbikes beside small shrines covered in incense ash. The ground underfoot is uneven, cracked, sometimes muddy, and often scattered with bits of trash. Markets show Jakarta at its most intense. In Jatinegara or Pasar Senen, sellers shout prices, buyers bargain loudly, and the smell of spices mixes with the metallic scent of rain hitting hot pavement. You touch fabrics, taste street snacks, and hear conversations overlapping like competing soundtracks. Jakarta cannot be understood from afar. You must step into its noise, its heat, and its movement to see the life beating within the chaos. From Sunda Kelapa to the giant Jakarta of today. Jakarta's history is a story of constant transformation, shaped by trade, conquest, migration, and rapid urban expansion. Long before it became a megacity, the area was known as Sunda Kelapa, a bustling port where traders from China, Arabia, India, and the Malay world exchanged spices, textiles, and ceramics. Its strategic location drew powerful interests, and in the 16th century, the Portuguese arrived, followed by the Dutch, who conquered the region and renamed it Batavia. Under Dutch rule, Batavia grew into the administrative heart of the East Indies, built with canals, warehouses, and grand colonial buildings that still stand today. But the beauty had a darker side. Disease, overcrowding, and harsh colonial policies shaped daily life. After independence, the city entered another phase of explosive change. Waves of migration from Java, Sumatra, and Sulawesi poured into Jakarta, drawn by jobs and opportunity. Neighborhoods expanded faster than infrastructure, creating kampung settlements that spread along rivers and empty land. By the late 20th century, Jakarta had transformed into a chaotic, sprawling capital, struggling to keep up with its own growth. Today's Jakarta is the product of this layered history. Ancient port, colonial city, modern megapolis. Each era left marks, architectural, cultural, and social, that collide in the streets. Understanding Jakarta means understanding how centuries of ambition and upheaval created a place where beauty and disorder coexist so closely. Warm, adaptable, and unshakably resilient. The people of Jakarta are the true force that keeps the city alive. In a place overwhelmed by traffic, pollution, flooding, and constant noise, Jakartans develop an extraordinary kind of resilience, one shaped by patience, humor, and an instinctive ability to adapt. From early morning until late at night, the city vibrates with human energy. Office workers rushing through crowded streets, food vendors setting up stalls beside roaring traffic, students weaving between motorbikes, and neighbors chatting across narrow alleyways as if the chaos around them simply does not exist. One of Jakarta's defining traits is its gotong royong spirit, community cooperation. When floods hit, residents help each other move furniture, rescue chickens, or clear debris. In kampong neighborhoods, people share food, tools, and stories, creating a sense of belonging even in the most difficult conditions. Strangers often smile or greet you, and conversations start easily, sometimes with nothing more than a joke about the traffic. Jakartans also carry a strong mix of cultural backgrounds: Javanese, Betawi, Sundanese, Chinese, Indonesian, Minang, Batak, and many more. This blend shapes the city's personality: expressive, warm, slightly chaotic, but full of life. Despite struggles with rising living costs and limited space, people maintain a remarkable optimism. They laugh at hardships, navigate the city with confidence, and keep moving forward. To meet the people of Jakarta is to understand why the city, no matter how messy, feels irresistibly alive. Purity and faith amid urban chaos. In Jakarta, spirituality is not confined to temples or mosques. It flows into daily life, shaping the rhythm of a city that never truly rests. The call to prayer rises above the roar of traffic 5 times a day, drifting across rooftops and weaving through alleys like a calming thread. For many residents, faith becomes a source of grounding amid the city's relentless pace. Islam dominates, yet Jakarta is quietly diverse. The Grand Istiqlal Mosque, the largest in Southeast Asia, stands proudly across from the Jakarta Cathedral, a neo-Gothic landmark with soaring spires. Their peaceful coexistence has become a symbol of the city, different beliefs standing face-to-face without conflict. Inside kampong neighborhoods, small shrines, incense sticks, and handwritten blessings mark doorways and corners. In Chinese Indonesian communities, people burn paper offerings or light red candles during festivals. Hindu families from Bali bring their own traditions, placing small baskets of flowers outside shops and homes. These rituals may seem modest, but they reflect a deep cultural truth. Even in a city drowning in noise, people seek purity through spiritual practice. Religion also shapes Jakarta's social life. During Ramadan, street vendors sell sweet kolak at sunset, and entire neighborhoods share food to break the fast. During Christmas, churches glow with lights despite monsoon rains. Faith does not erase the city's problems, but it softens them, creating moments of peace inside the chaos. In Jakarta, spirituality is a reminder that the human heart can stay clean, even when the world outside is far from it. The artistic pulse that refuses to fade. Jakarta's culture is vibrant in a way that surprises anyone who only sees its traffic and trash. Beneath the city's chaotic surface lies a deep artistic heartbeat. In Kota Tua, street performers reenact old Batavia life. Musicians play traditional Betawi songs, and dancers move to the soft metallic tones of gamelan echoing across the square. In Jakarta, art is not confined to museums. It spills into streets, parks, and even crowded train stations. Festivals explode with color and energy. Jakarta Fair, held each year, transforms entire districts into a carnival of music, food, and local crafts. During Lebaran, families fill the city with warmth and generosity, sharing food after a month of fasting. Meanwhile, Chinese New Year brings lion dances to Glodok, drums reverberating between narrow alleys lit by red lanterns. Every celebration adds another thread to the city's multi-ethnic tapestry. The Betawi culture, native to Jakarta, remains a powerful symbol of identity. Traditional ondel-ondel giants, towering puppets with bright masks, appear at parades and ceremonies, dancing awkwardly yet joyfully through markets and public squares. Their presence is both festive and nostalgic, reminding residents of a heritage that refuses to disappear despite rapid modernization. In galleries around Kemang or Menteng, young artists experiment with bold urban themes, painting Jakarta's struggles and triumphs onto canvas. Even in a city overwhelmed by congestion and pollution, creativity continues to flourish. Jakarta may be messy, but its culture is alive, loud, colorful, and impossible to ignore. Why Jakarta struggles to stay clean. Jakarta's beauty and culture often hide a difficult truth. The city is locked in a constant battle against problems bigger than its infrastructure can handle. The most visible challenge is waste. Every day, thousands of tons of trash flow through markets, homes, factories, and street stalls. Much of it never reaches official disposal sites. Instead, it piles up on sidewalks, floats down the Siliwangi River, or collects in narrow alleys where garbage trucks cannot enter. Seasonal floods make the situation worse, sweeping refuse across entire neighborhoods and returning it to the streets once the water recedes. Traffic is another enormous struggle. Millions of motorbikes and cars squeeze into a road network never designed for such density. Congestion increases pollution, delays waste collection, and creates hours of daily gridlock that drains the city's productivity. Meanwhile, Jakarta continues to sink. Literally, overuse of groundwater has caused parts of the city to subside, increasing the frequency of floods and threatening low-lying communities. Rapid migration also contributes to the chaos. People from across Indonesia come seeking opportunity, but new housing and public services cannot keep up. Kampung settlements expand in every direction, often without planning or sanitation systems. Government projects, river cleanups, flood defenses, new transport lines show progress, yet the pace is slower than the city's growth. Jakarta's challenges are monumental, but they reflect a city that grew too big, too fast, and despite the constant struggle, life here never stops moving. A beautiful contradiction. Beneath Jakarta's noise, pollution, and relentless movement lies something far more powerful than its problems, a soul shaped by endurance, creativity, and an ability to find beauty in the most unlikely places. This city may overwhelm you at first glance, but look closer, and you'll see a quiet resilience woven into everyday life. At dawn, before traffic fills the streets, fishermen cast nets along the edge of Sunda Kelapa port, just as their ancestors did centuries ago. In kampung neighborhoods, families gather outside before the heat rises, sharing tea and small stories that bind the community together. The city is tough, but its people carry a softness that holds everything in balance. Jakarta's soul also lives in its contrasts. A musician practices gamelan beside a cracked wall covered in graffiti. A florist arranges delicate jasmine garlands a few steps away from a clogged drain. A group of teenagers skate under a flyover while a call to prayer echoes gently from a distant mosque. None of it matches, yet all of it belongs. These moments reveal the deeper truth. Jakarta is not defined by its disorder, but by how people rise above it. In its own way, the city teaches a lesson about humanity. Even when the world outside is messy, people still create, still hope, still love. Jakarta reminds you that beauty can bloom anywhere, even in the heart of chaos. The city that stays in your memory. As the sun sets over Jakarta, the city transforms into something almost poetic. The sky turns a hazy orange, reflecting off skyscrapers while the streets below remain alive with movement. Motorbikes weave through traffic like streams of light. Street vendors ignite their grills, and the scent of charcoal, spices, and rain-soaked pavement blends into a familiar evening breath. From the historic towers of Kota Tua to the neon glow of Thamrin, Jakarta feels both ancient and modern, broken and beautiful, all at the same time. You hear the distant call to prayer rise above honking horns, creating a moment of calm suspended in the chaos. Children play beside flood canals, laughing as if the world around them were perfect. Elderly men sip coffee outside small shops, watching the city rush past. Everywhere you look, life refuses to slow down. And that is Jakarta's final imprint, a place that overwhelms you, challenges you, frustrates you, but ultimately stays with you long after you leave. Because once you witness this paradox, a dirty, crowded city filled with unexpected elegance, you cannot forget it. Jakarta shows that humanity's greatest strength is not perfection, but persistence. The city survives, adapts, and keeps moving, no matter how heavy the challenge is. What do you think about Jakarta's strange, chaotic beauty? If you enjoyed this journey, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and share this video with someone who loves history and curious places.